Roses are red. Penn State is blue.
Yeah, some New Year's Day traditions have changed as a result of the BCS, but there is one that remains. The Granddaddy. Chamber of Commerce Day out in California. Stealth bomber flies above 95th Rose Bowl. Joe Paterno coaching the game from the press box. Champions of the Big Ten come out in their familiar all whites. USC 33rd Rose Bowl appearance. That's 11 more than any other school's made. Lee Corso, College Game Day. Who wins?
Dun, 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 dun. Here he comes.
Fight on, USC. Let me tell you something. And you keep your wit over there. Happy New Year. I picked USC to win a national title. They're getting screwed. They should be in Miami. I'm telling you. Wow. Go, fight on, USC.
Moral of that story is don't give coach a weapon that early in the morning. We're scoreless early on. Aaron Mabin, who may be a top 10 pick if he leaves school early, gets a sack and a fumble, but he lined up offsides. Turnover negated, Jopa.
What are we doing?
Later in the drive, Sanchez, Damian Williams. That's too easy. We'll take this look courtesy of ESPN Axis. Sanchez does a great job looking off the corner, Tony Davis. And then where's my man Williams? You'll find him right down the middle, operating in space. There was a lot of that going on. Williams had 10 grabs, a career-high 162 yards. USC up 7-0. Ensuing Penn State drive, though, Darrell Clark, this Penn State offense had operated at a high level throughout the year. That vaunted USC defense surrenders a touchdown. So here, second quarter, injuries begin to take a toll. Evan Royster, knee brace on the sidelines. He could not return. Ensuing USC drive, 2nd and 12. Joe McKnight. I thought he might be a Reggie Bush. He hadn't gotten there quite yet. He's had a litany of little nicks and nickel-dime injuries. He re-aggravates a sprained toe. He didn't come back, but Sanchez, he'll take it to the paint himself. USC leads 14-7. It's now a 17-7 game. Sanchez, a dart, again operating in space, as I mentioned. There's number 8, Ronald Johnson, kid out of Michigan, and it's 24-7. And with starting running backs out, replacements playing key roles. Under 2 minutes to go, Stephon Green in for Royster. And Clark completes to Green. Picks up some blockers. Maybe we can get into field goal territory and get a little closer. Oh, you can't put it on the ground. Ball on the ground. Recovered by USC. And Pete Carroll and the Trojans, man, when they smell blood, they'll pounce. C.J. Gable in the backfield in for McKnight, and Sanchez to Gable. Got a bunch of those big Trojan linemen out in front. Again, that's just too easy. 31-7. The 31 allowed in the half. That's more than Penn State allowed in an entire game this season. What adjustments would Coach Paterno make at the half? Here's Lisa Salters.
Joe Paterno did not come down to the locker room to talk to the guys, but he did send them a message. He told them to play Penn State football.
Penn State football is not going to be enough against USC on this particular day. Clark rolls out Derek Williams. Gets it a little bit closer, but USC responds immediately. Sanchez, nice play action, rolling, and one little pump fake. And did I mention space? That's ridiculous. That's Ronald Johnson all by his own self. How does he get so open? Well, on the rollout, you'll see Lydell Sargent. Eyes are in the backfield, and that hesitation for just one moment, and a nice little hesitation stutter step, enough for Johnson to get deep. 413, a Rose Bowl record for passing for Sanchez. Remember, 33 times they've been there. It's 38-24, and the pass is picked by Will Harris. Pete Carroll and USC, if not for that Thursday night in Corvallis, what might have been for this season, disappointment for Darrell Clark, and strike up the band, fight on. Trojans become the first team ever to win 3 consecutive Rose Bowls. To Penn State's credit, they battled to the end. The outcome was not in doubt in Pasadena in the final minutes, but the outcome was in doubt in Las Vegas. I'm imagining the sports book was a rather entertaining place to be during those last few seconds. Another season ends with another big win for USC, but they'll have to watch the title game. John Saunders asked Pete Carroll who he thought would win.
Well, in all due respect, those are 2 great programs. I don't think anybody can beat the Trojans this year.
But when did you know that this one was over?
I felt good going into halftime, but, you know, hats off to a a great Penn State team. They brought it all game long. They didn't quit. You saw at the end there we were hanging on. But, a solid Trojan victory. It was a total team effort. That's the way we want to send the seniors out. And we had no doubt this game that we were going to come out on top.
Now, head-to-head, Pac-10, Big Ten over the past about 9-10 years, been pretty even, essentially 500. But USC has dominated. It's the 9th straight time they've beaten the Big Ten when they faced them. They've outscored the 9 by an average of 213, or just a shade under 24 per. Trojans not playing Big Ten cupcakes either. 5 of the last 6 have come in BCS bowl games. The last 4 in the Rose Bowl. Head-to-head, as I mentioned, the conference is essentially 500. But USC's owned the Big Ten, and this one they own Joe Paterno and Penn State. Chris Fowler spoke with a legend from State College.
Joe, you just talked to your team. What was the message you delivered?
So keep their heads high. And we didn't play as we played all year in the first half. A lot of foolish penalties, turn the ball over. And against a team as good as Southern Cal playing as well as they were playing, you're going to get licked. But I was pleased, and I told them that they came back the second half, played hard, and that they had a lot to be proud of. They had a heck of a year, and I wouldn't want this thing to, erase all the good things they did. And basically that was it.
Now, there's a lot that can be made of this conference versus that conference, and do you face an offense like this in the Big Ten, even though USC's offense hadn't been as good this year perhaps as in years past? Bottom line, on this particular day, athlete for athlete, the kids from State College were not the equal of those from Los Angeles. Mark Sanchez, as I mentioned, 413 against a Nittany Lion defense that hadn't allowed a 300-yard passing game all year. Penn State had allowed a total of 6 touchdowns through the air all season. Sanchez and USC had 4.